What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today what we're going to do is we're going to run you through our pretty much two most unique stocks we traded on the day, or the two stocks we traded the most successful, and then kind of the worst, and show you guys the good and the bad here so you can learn from that. All right, so the first stock we traded on the day was AMD. We did very well in the beginning of the day, and then the AMD market just continued to keep fading out, and the long just never worked. And so this has just been in an overall bullish pattern. We thought it would keep running, yada, yada, yada. You know the story. So I traded this multiple times a day, because I wanted to swing trade it. So I kept taking some swing trade entries in the low risk area, and then they just weren't working out. So I eventually figured out the weakness just was too strong, and we were not going to be seeing the move that I needed for the time being. So let's put the trades on. And so over the past couple days, we've been following AMD. We traded it in the morning with 1,000 shares. We caught this whole move, perfect, 1,000 shares, rode it all the way up. We're up like like $400 or $500. So, and then later in the day, it just fades all the way out, takes back a good portion of the win. I get long here on the bottom. We get a couple bounces. I could have sold for some profit, but I was trying to hold for a swing trade, and then it comes back down. You can see I stop out. I take a new entry. I stop out. And so this is just one of those situations where, I'm trading for a swing trade, like a big entry to see if this can kind of reverse on the day. And it's just not working. So I'm just taking these paper cut loss after paper cut loss after paper cut loss. And then you can obviously see what happens later in the day with the market. We end up breaking down here. So after trying these bottoms enough, I realized the weakness was just there and it just was not going to happen. So I wasn't going to be holding that trade. All right. So for the time being, we're negative on the stock AMD, $181, right? So to give a little more detail, the first trade here was breaking over resistance, so we went long. This $58 price was the previous high from, a couple weeks back. So as soon as it got, up to that resistance, we made sure to sell out most of our position. I thought we were just fading this market out to stop most of the people out before we would run the market back up. Well, obviously that did not happen, okay? And if you look right now, you will see that the SPY is currently getting demolished. So the markets are basically tanking on news that California, there's a ton of stuff going on in the markets, stuff that people don't even believe is happening. They don't want to believe. They're too scared to open their eyes. And then also there's mainstream media news things that are happening. Like California just announced that all the kids will not be going back to school, and they're all going to be doing school from online. Well, that's just terrible for the economy. And California is one of the biggest states, right? Biggest population group, big economy there. That's not good. Okay. So obviously the markets are not liking that news. And that is also a portion to why the stock AMD performed poorly later this afternoon. All right. Now on to our better trader for the day, which was EQ. So we'll go over to EQ. EQ was a really good day. So we were watching the stock pretty much all day. You will notice that in the morning, it just kind of consolidated all the way sideways, which then led to a really big squeeze. And then we bear trapped the short sellers here, and then we long the move. And now we're starting to get a little shaky. All right, so we'll put the trades on here so you guys can see what happened. As you can see, hit about 12,000, did hit $12,300 today on the stock. So it was just a phenomenal day. All right, so if we move in, take a look at this, you will see we did not trade it all morning. We pretty much started taking our entries as the stock was starting to exit this long developing wedge in our low risk support level down here on our deviation. So we got long, pretty much traded it all the way up to what was our first resistance mark. And then we sold, 200 shares, 500 shares, 200 shares. Then we kept on a couple hundred. So let's look at this again. So down here in the bottom, we were in 1,000. We're in about 1,100 shares here. Sold 500 on the top here on this move. We sold 200, sold 200. So we had a couple shares left, but about 200 shares left to look like. We rode some more up, sold some here, and then sold a little bit more. All right. And then in this bottom, I realized we were most likely going to squeeze out the short sellers here. I figured we were probably in what's called a bear trap. And I figured we had trapped the bears and we were gonna long them out. So when I figure that out, you can see I just went nuts. You can see I bought, let's see, I bought 4,500 shares. I bought 1,200. So in this dip here, I bought 4,500, bought 1,200, bought 100, bought 500, bought 100, bought 300, bought 400. just buying into this move. So I ended up having about 6,000 shares as a stock before the stock broke out. So I bought enough shares here in this dip to not catch any slippage on the way up, so I could just ride this full momentum move. And then as we started nearing our first resistance marks, I was selling out 2,300, 1,200, 2,200, 600 to the point where I fully exited all in here. And I took a small short trade here, and that was pretty much it. All right, so pretty much caught the full move here on EQ. If we put it on a 5-minute chart, it might look a little better for you guys. Might be able to read a little easier. Yeah, so you guys can see I ended up getting long 500, 1,011, basically 1,100 shares down here. Sold out in our first resistance move, kept some on, sold some here, and then I bought the dip here before our breakout, and then sold all those shares as we got into our resistance tops up here, okay? So overall, really, really great day here trading. And the cool part was this first long leg move, when we caught this whole move, we were actually doing that live during one of our Monday teaching classes, where we typically wouldn't be trading any longer on the day, where we were typically just having class and kind of tutoring and teaching and going over things. This ended up moving right during class, so it was perfect. We just traded it with the whole class. It was awesome. Either way, everybody have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys on the next video. Appreciate you guys tuning into the channel. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.